Hello, I welcome all of you who has joined us. Media Center Ukraine in Ukrinform is going on with its work. This is 211th day of the full-scale invasion of Russian aggressor, and now we will be speaking about the situation in the occupied Izyum city. We are in touch with Volodymyr Matsokin, deputy mayor of Izyum city. Volodymyr, hello. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. Volodymyr, what is the current situation in the city? Could you please tell a bit about the humanitarian component? What is taking place? Do you restore the work of the local authorities? Well, the situation, first of all, is the following. The local authorities are in the city for more than a day already. With the military and servicemen, we totally restored our work, and now we are setting up all the necessary parts of the local self-governance authorities. Today we are speaking about the social provision, about education already, about the work in the financial institutions, undoubtedly the communal services and residential services. I can tell you that Ukraine is coming back to Izyum town. It is coming back in all of the spheres. And this is the process. Volodymyr, unfortunately we do not hear you. 1, 2. Unfortunately, you vanished. You were disconnected, but now the connection is restored. We can go on. I do apologize. The connection is really very unstable, because still it's not as it used to be, how we got used to. So the humanitarian situation with the food products is normal. As of today, all the parts of the city are provided with the humanitarian aid and relief, the food products. There are some other issues. Those are the construction materials, the water, the power, the gas supply. Do we understand correctly that as of today the critical infrastructure in the city is fully destroyed? Totally destroyed. I can tell you that the situation, I would say, is very close to the apocalyptic one. The central part and the multi-storied buildings, when we used to say to the reporters that they are destroyed for 75%, I would say that today, in fact, either partially or fully destroyed are 90% of the multi-storied buildings. The private sector or the one-storied buildings are a bit in a better state, but we should research and examine the real situation. The people in the central part of the town, they are not living there. It's impossible to live there because everything is destroyed there. Volodymyr, if we're speaking about the consequences of the occupation, what can you tell now? What is taking place? What do we know about the destroyed objects? You told about that, but what about the victims? We know that the process of exhumation is almost over within Izyum city. What is happening there? Well, you know, I wouldn't say that they are being over. They are not finalized. These actions are ongoing. Today we can say that such burials can be found in multiple places, at least in 3 places, for the experts to research whether the mass graves can be found, the mass graves of the victims of Russian occupation. And if first we assessed that the victims among the civilians are approximately 1,000 persons, unfortunately I have some suspicions that this figure can increase. Unfortunately, we discover more and more, and in this situation I can tell you that we are speaking a lot about that now. People finally got rid of the fear which they felt. They are speaking with the Ukrainian and foreign journalists finally. And our town now is the town of mass terror which used to be here. the mass terror which was used not just against the total population, but against every single person. Some people were tortured, some people were deprived of freedom, some people were under psychological pressure. Those are thousands of stories. I can't tell you tens of thousands of stories, but thousands for sure. And when I am communicating with the people from here, they are in a really bad psychological state. With my countrymen, with my fellow countrymen, when you are getting out of this 6-month occupation, it is very hard. Volodymyr, we know that looking at the example of Donetsk region military administration, they say that the deoccupied territories have the task, first of all, to evacuate as many people as possible to live through the winter. So which solutions, which decisions did you take? Will you have enough time to get ready for people not to stay in cold? Or you will have the same strategy of evacuation of people for this period as much as possible? I think that we will be working with the ministry, with Ms. Vereshchuk as a head, and I think it was mentioned before the deoccupation that parts of Kharkiv region will be evacuated. This is the whole complex of problems. If there is no power supply, how can the apartments and buildings have heating at all? Because the gas pipeline is destroyed, the gas pump stations are destroyed. Moreover, the systems of heat supply were defrosted because in March there was up to 15 to 20 degrees centigrade. And we don't have the connection again, but now it came back. So again, there are some of the people coming to us who are saying that we have people with disabilities, we have children, we need to leave. So we can't avoid this situation, but we will look at the real situation and we will look what we cope to do during this short period of time, how we can make in order the power supply, the gas supply, the water supply. We will look at the current situation, but as of evacuation, it cannot be avoided. Volodymyr, could you please tell, are the stores and hospitals working in the city? Some important structures like post office, did they restore their work? Are they working now? I would like to tell you that the hospital never closed. It used to work, and it is working. We had traumatologists here and surgeons here. There were surgeries conducted here, and we made research and tests. So we would like to express huge gratitude to our doctors. But if we had surgeries, for instance, our doctors were doing them in the basements, in darkness, lighting the surgery with the cell phones. Because the first hospital, which was destroyed in the beginning of March, the shelling destroyed all of their surgery rooms. The CT room was destroyed, the central entrance is destroyed, the premises were damaged. There were our doctors there, but the Russian military stayed there as well. The building of the hospital is, honestly speaking, robbed. I went through all of the floors of the hospital, and our central hospital used to be repaired according to the president's program, the huge construction, and we had only to provide the full welfare and proper conditions. So much of innovative medical equipment was brought here. Everything was robbed and stolen. If they couldn't steal it, they took some of the valuable metals They destroyed everything. Even the metal plastic doors were destroyed. The picture is just awful. So, the hospital is working, it is providing the services, the doctors are coming back under these incredible conditions. They need to stay overnight at hospitals, but still they are coming back. They are more and more numerous every day, and I'd like to thank them for that as well. The Ukrainian post office is working. Well, it is. Maybe they will try to organize mobile brigades. They are still trying to understand what should be the format of work. Because for the normal way of work for Ukrinform, that is Ukrainian post office, Nova Poshta, and banking institutions, they need power supply. But for 5 months, our people did not get their pensions. Theoretically, they have them on the credit cards, but the ATMs are not working. As for the stores, we have 2 markets, and some of the stores are working, but we need to be sincere. People just don't have money. They're out of money because the factories are not working, the pensions are not given, the payments, any of the payments are not paid. So people just don't have hryvnia. And as for Russian ruble, it was not of wide use here. So people are surviving thanks to the international Ukrainian humanitarian aid and relief. Their consumer capacity is very close to zero. Dear colleagues, are there any questions? We've got a question. Volodymyr, just a moment. Could you please introduce yourself? Thank you. Vitaly Holod, Ukrinform. Volodymyr, could you please Could you tell in more details? You were speaking about the communal structure. Could you tell more details about, in the percentage share, what about the water supply, electrical power, and gas supply? How much is the city covered or damaged with the supply? As for power supply, we don't have it in the city at all. For 100%, we do not have power. As for gas, it comes only to one part of the town. That is, I would say, it's coming from Pivaki field, and it covers approximately 20% of the population. But just for you to know, the gas is coming under the mode. The pressure is not enough, so to boil a kettle you need 20 minutes. The water supply doesn't work, canalization is not working as well. Volodymyr? We do hope that our connection will restore. So the sewage is not working. After the power supply comes back, we'll be able to speak about centralized water supply. So it is done with the now water supply is done with the help of the wells and sources which we can find in the city. We cannot get to the river of the Siversky Donets because the area is mined substantially. Ukrainian experts say that the mining is at such a high level that it can't even be compared to the mining of Kiev region. As for the mobile coverage, again, approximately 20%. But again, I'd like to drive your attention that it's my subjective opinion. We need experts to provide you with the percentage and to describe the situation. Volodymyr, according to your assessment, how many people are living in Izyum now? In Izyum, we have approximately 15 to 17,000 of residents. And incredibly, anomaly high number of children. Up to 1,500 children are staying in the city. Unfortunately, they don't have education now, they don't get the training according to the Ukrainian curriculum. We are ready to provide them with the educational services, but the thing is that there is no internet. And those could just be educational services provided online only. One more question, Volodymyr. Yesterday, the Vice Prime Minister Vereshchuk said that the residents of Izyum will get 1,200 hryvnia each, but only through Ukrainian post office. Are there any forecasts for the ATMs to work and that people can get these payments? Thank you. Thank you for the question. Well, even today we have the representatives of the bank in the city who are researching the opportunities to restore the work of their departments. I am sure that they are really very vivid and lively, and they say that as soon as they have power supply, they are ready to begin the work. The Ukrainian post office are still defining whether they will be able to work because their premises are destroyed, and I think that we can speak only about the mobile offices of Ukrainian post office so far, which will be working. Moreover, I'd like to say that all the bridges are destroyed. So it's hard to get from one part of the city. It is possible only through the pontoon bridges, and there are long queues. This is the life in the city now. We've got one more question, please.
Pacific Rex. You mentioned the exhumation of civilians, and I'm wondering if you can address the exhumation of military personnel and who is overseeing that. Is that Oleg Katenko, the Commissioner of Missing Persons in Special Circumstances?
Yeah.
Could you please repeat? Yes, the question was about exhumation. We were speaking about the exhumation of the civilians. Could you please tell about that? And about the exhumation of the servicemen, about the military. Could you please tell about that? And who is now, getting to this issue? Well, first of all, thank you for the question. As for the exhumation, it is done by the law enforcement, the national police, the security service of Ukraine, and the prosecutor's general office. The prosecutor's office. All of those experts are working on that, and they provide all the necessary research. As of today, these actions are far from being over. I think we are not even in the middle of the process. I was present during the first actions conducted at the cemetery by the address Shakespeare Street. And my personal impressions, there are some of the servicemen buried there. I don't know the exact number, but this is it about the servicemen and the military, because I was not present at any other exhumation process, and let's not forget that those are investigative actions which should comply with the acting legislation. And also the exhumation is ongoing, the exhumation of the civilians is going on. The experts can see that they can find remnants of the bodies of children and adults with the traces of tortures. These actions are ongoing. It's hard to speak about that, but when they are over, well, it will be over when the last body is totally researched and tested. The bodies are sent to Kharkiv city, and the experts will work with the bodies there. I'd like to calm down. Using this opportunity, I'd like to calm down the relatives of the people who died. We will make them aware. And whoever has the wish to bury the relatives how they consider to be appropriate. If not, the state will take care about that, and we as the local self-governance authorities will help in that.
Ukraine has a number of mobile rapid DNA laboratories, and one that's been used for this purpose is Andy. It's called Andy. I'm wondering if that has been deployed to the Izyum area. Mobile Rapid DNA.
Якщо
If you can answer this question, Volodymyr, do you have the use of mobile rapid DNA laboratories? Yes, as of today, Volodymyr, we do not hear you. You vanished again. Do you hear me now? Yes, yes, now we hear you, please. Thank you. So today, the relatives of the deceased in Izyum city can give the material, the samples for the DNA test. Some of the experts are taking the samples from the relatives. It is done in Izyum city. The research will not be done in Izyum. The test, the research itself, will be done in Kharkiv city. Thank you, and we thank you, dear colleagues. Volodymyr, we thank you that you found time and joined our air, and we thank you, dear colleagues, for the interest to this really super important question. We say goodbye to you. Please follow our following schedule. See you tomorrow.